But yeah, I'm very different to my parents. Like, my dad is a very blunt man, very direct man, right? He's a very blunt Welshman, right? My mum, she's a bit East London. She's kind of like Peggy Mitchell. And I've never really been like them. I never really sounded like them either, really. But I didn't really think that my voice or my accent was particularly descriptive. I didn't think you could really describe it that well up until last year when I went on a date, right? It was the first date, which I thought had gone well, right? So I was messaging the lady the next day, trying to arrange a second date, and she responded with, and I quote, "Look, you seem really nice, but I just can't get over how much your voice sounds like a 90s radio DJ." I thought it had gone well. Clearly she'd walked in and heard, "It's just gone 8 o'clock and welcome to ZZ's." So sit back, relax, and let's look at what we've got coming up for you over the next 2 hours. Well, we're going to be kicking off with a starter, but stick around after that, because a little bit later on, we'll be moving on to a main. But before all of that, Cassie, it's competition time. And today's big question, do you want to go for the house wine or one of these more expensive bottles? Now, take your time over your answer, Cassie, take your time, because the answer to this question will determine whether I put the bill for tonight or we go Dutch. Oh, she's gone for the house wine. Congratulations, Cassie. You just won yourself a free meal. Fantastic. So, Cassie, tell me, how did you get here tonight? Train, you say? Well, let's find out what's going on with the trains and the rest of the traffic and travel with Dan. He's been listening in on speakerphone. Dan, how's it looking out there? Absolute chaos, Phil. Classics at Friday night. A10 and A24 completely chocker thanks to an earlier lorry spill. Train's not looking too great either. To be honest, if Cassie's thinking of taking the Thameslink service home, I suggest she finds another route because there's a signal failure at Orpington. Back to you, Phil. Okay, thanks, Dan. Cassie, looks like you're going to have to take another route home. I'd recommend Uber, but this is a 90s radio show, and that hasn't been invented yet. So yeah, but I've always like sounded different to them, and I didn't go to a particularly good school. I went to quite a rough, comprehensive school in South London, and I didn't fit in there. And I tried to kind of like South London my accent, you know. I tried to be a bit of a geezer. I started reading Nuts magazine. Stopped wearing cravats, yeah. But none of that seemed to work, you know. So I thought I'd talk to my dad about the situation, right? As a Welshman who moved to England, I thought he might have some tips about fitting in, right? So I told him how I tried to kind of like change my accent and change what I wore. And he looked at me and he shook his head and he just went, "You posh twat. What have I told you? Don't bother trying to fit in school. Just get your head down, get to the end of it, and when you finish, you'll get a nice job in, I don't know, IT or something." And I couldn't believe it, you know. I'd gone to him for help and I was shocked. Partly because that was the first time in my life I realised he was Tom Jones. But also because he'd stereotyped me, you know. He put me in the same mould as every other white middle-class kid. And I was like, no, Dad, I'm not going to be one of those IT worker corporate puppets. I'm going to do something creative with my life, something different. And that's what I did when I got out there into the big wide world. I went and worked in music. I was working in the arts. I was doing really creative stuff. And I was happy, you know. I was looking at those corporate monkeys and they rat raced to work. So I was like, you see, Dad, you see? I fucking told you. Up until 2007, when I took a job in IT. I've been there 12 years now. Yeah. It's good, you know. It pays the bills, doesn't it? And, it's a good pension scheme. And it's still creative, you know. It's still cool and creative, you know. On Fridays, we can wear whatever we want in the office. So it's pretty good.